free will did not come from God. This operation of free will is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God did not create man to define good and evil. He had already defined good and evil. You have a lot of people believing that these trees are actual trees, that Adam and Eve ate a fruit from a tree. If mankind will reach forth and eat it, of the tree of life, they will have eternal salvation. Well, we don't see a tree of life anywhere. We see a big book actually talk about this salvation and eternal life, but you see other ways to get it than to find this tree and eat of a fruit. You also see a world full of sin, but you don't see this tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's like this tree was only there for just Adam and Eve alone. A lot of the stories in the Bible are, especially in Genesis, are actually summaries for all of mankind. One tree gives life. The other tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you might actually think that I will have knowledge of good and evil. He gave his judgments, and he gave his judgments of what is good and what is evil. The tree of life is life, the opposite. For in that day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And so what is in this fruit that makes them dead? I mean, Adam and Eve, when they ate of it, they did not die. Then you have this Satan, and we'll get into that in another video, that says you will not surely die, but you will be like gods. They can corrupt God's creation, they can mingle things and make things more corrupt, but God created everything good. He tells us a lot of things not to do, and he tells us things that are good to do. So the will of God is this tree of life, to do his will, to do the operation he created us in and to be. But we took over the land, the earth, and we said, this is ours. We're going to create things. We're going to be our own God. We're going to make this our kingdom, not God's kingdom, to make their own order, own control. Free will is people saying not God's will and not God's way, but our own. Not God's judgment, but our own.